Hey there, hope you're doing well and having an amazing day wherever you are, or if it's day or night, wherever. Thank you to all of you around the world. I'm so excited. Things are getting really real. I'm excited. With that said, they're probably getting a little dicey for you as well, because when you get closer to understanding and remembering the truth of who you are, and you kick yourself out of the system, out of the matrix, out of the lies, out of the illusion completely, boy, things get tough, because these energies will stop at nothing to stop you from exposing them for what they are, for exposing the truth, which is why I'm doing this video. This is a good one. I have literally been going back to Egypt for days in my meditation, in sleep, reliving and understanding what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and then the solution moving forward. That's the interesting part. So here's the things that I've uncovered. I've talked about how the universe was created. You can go back to one of my other videos to listen to that, or ask me and I will tell you. The main thing to understand is God is a right hand and a left hand, the twin flames. Then it created the two firstborn angels, Ra-Shael, Ra, or as you think you know him, Ra, the sun god from Egypt. And then Namenna, or Amen, which means prayer. Those were soulmates. Those were the two original angels that were created, that created the other angels in the ethereal realm. Now, there is a story, and I don't know if it's in the Bible, about when Samael was kicked out of heaven. Who is Samael? Samael is Ra. Who is Ra? Ra is the devil. Ra fell from heaven into the void, which is this is the void, the darkness, and became materialistic, animalistic, and hated God, was pissed off at God, and decided, you know what? Fuck God. I'm going to be God. And then what happened is, in the days of Egypt, when the humans were created, with weird heads, by the way, on an assembly line, that was interesting to see. The gods were here. Ra-Shael. You don't hear much about Namenna, or Amen as she is known. You don't hear much about her. Why? Well, here's why. So what happened was, Namenna was still in heaven next to God, with God. She is prayer and praise to God. Very close to God. Ra-Shael, the devil, fell, became that animalistic energy, materialistic, low vibration, high vibration, low vibration. And he convinced her to come down here into the material plane so that they could create, so that they could be together. And he did it under the impression that he would protect her and love her, because he was her, quote, quote, soulmate. Sound familiar? Anyway, she came down here because she's very naive and innocent, kind of like a child, and the situation that she was put into was not the situation that she thought. This Ra character wore a mask, was a complete liar, a manipulator, and he used her by having sex with her and siphoning her energy, because she's connected to God, so that he could build his utopia here on earth, because he can't create without source. You can't turn the light on if you don't plug it into the electricity. So he manipulated her. He lied, kind of like a narcissist when they suck you in. And then what he ended up doing is he ended up taking that energy and giving it to other females and creating other gods, the female gods that you hear of. For instance, Isis, Hathor, Bastet, Mot, Neith, all of those quote, quote, female gods. They weren't female gods. They were female created gods. They were demigods. And Ra was the one, like the lion with the lionesses. He is the one that slept with them and manipulated them and made them believe that they were gods, and he would siphon his energy off of Namenda, his real soulmate. All right, this is an add-on to this video because I went to bed and I was like, oh crap, I forgot part of the story, which is a very important part of the story to understand. Because it's really important to understand where he came from, what happened, why. Because if you don't understand that, if you don't know the truth, you stay a slave to the story, to the illusion, to the manipulation and the control. So that's why I'm telling you this story. Whether or not you believe it or you want to do anything about it is up to you. I don't really care. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm speaking what was given to me to you. And what I understand is that Ra, who is also Samael, who's also Beelzebub, who's also the devil, who's also demonic, he has many names, many masks, many lives. The energy is still the same. He's a fallen angel. God kicked him out of heaven because he disobeyed God. And then he waged a war against God. And then he waged a war against his soulmate. And he did that too by binding her here, bringing her here and binding her into the material plane, but not from a place of love, from a place of control and manipulation and domination. He wanted to be God. He wanted to wage this war against God and show God that, hey, I can do this too. The problem is that he did this to his own soulmate. She had no clue. She was manipulated and controlled. The other thing he did was there was not just him that was a fallen angel. There were others, the other females that were gods during that time. Those were fallen angels as well. They were under his delusion, and he would sleep with them, like I mentioned before, and he would control them as well. It's the devil energy that you see here. Any of you that have dealt with a narcissist is really key in a sociopath or a psychopath. They don't even know who they are anymore because they've lost all level of awareness of I am, because they're so far away from God. They become so animalistic. But then what he did is Ra did was those other female fallen angels that were with him, that came with him, they waged a war against her and started to attack her and manipulate her and siphon. So all those powers and abilities that those female gods had during that time, that was Namenda's powers and abilities siphoned off. And because she's such a huge power, it's like this glass versus a shot glass. You can only pour so much of this liquid into a shot glass and then it overflows. That's what these little demigods or fallen angels, they were smaller than her. She's a bigger container. So each one of them had a piece of her, a different aspect of her. One was nurturing, one was, I don't even know, had this ability or this ability. Those were all of her abilities. So he basically waged a coup against her and made her believe that everything and everyone was against her. This is where belief systems started. You want to know where victimization started? Victimhood, victim mentality, victim energy, victim beliefs. This is it. That's it. Imagine being with a narcissist, being pulled in, believing that they love you and they want to do the right thing for you and care for you and provide for you, that they've got your back, and then all the while they are stabbing you in the back and stealing and taking from you and taking everything. He took everything from her and claimed it as his own. None of that shit is his. None of it. He is not the sun god. He is not the light bearer. And he most certainly does not have those abilities. He stole them. All of them. It's ridiculous. It's insane. But that's all changing because the energies are being pulled apart and balanced. And that's what needs to happen, because he's going to have to learn. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that to other people. You shouldn't purposely, with intention, harm other people, especially when they're innocent and they did not deserve it. That's his lesson. And it's a hard one for him. And it's going to be generations, I think, before he comes out of that, because we're moving forward. Anyway, that's my insert. I'm going to keep the video going. All right. So here's where things get interesting. This is why you have a male-dominated society. In everything, look at the triangle, the male genitalia. A corporation has a CEO on the top, and all the people are at the bottom, and he is in control because it's mostly male-dominated right at this point. The other cool thing is during the days of Egypt, they built the pyramids. Why did they build the pyramids? Nobody knows. I do. Is because they were siphoning the energy from the planet, from the crystals that were in the planet, and they were trying to recreate the energy from the feminine, from his soulmate, Naminna, so that they could power the control grid, or also known as the Matrix. And even in the US, on our dollar bill, and I don't even have a dollar, it's the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye, the third eye. The feminine is like this. She is the womb. The masculine is like this. And here's the thing, the masculine penetrates the feminine and moves that energy up into the chakra system and out through the silver cord. Raphael, also known as the devil, is not a sun god. He's not even a god. He's a pretend god, a demagogue that stole all of those psychic abilities, this third eye, from his soulmate. He penetrated and stole everything from her. Your Kundalini practice that you go through, where does that energy come from? Does anybody ever ask that question? Does it come from the ground? Does it come from a source? What source is that exactly? And the Kundalini is meant to rise up and then open your third eye. And everybody prays up to a God, a masculine God above you. Here's what Mary Magdalene and Jesus realized. And you'll see it in the Last Supper in that painting, because they show you the chalice, which is the womb. They understood that the feminine was the power, the real God, if you will, the portal to God, the portal back to God. Masculine understood that as well back in the day, and it wanted to dominate and control the feminine and siphon and steal its powers, its abilities, and its energy so that it could power its system. So that it could take the third eye, which is the guidance system of the universe, and control and manipulate it. Brilliant, brilliant setup. Taken years to undo this. And the interest is, I'm just so fascinated with this, because Mary Magdalene, none of her teachings are in the Bible. She was the closest disciple, the closest apostle, whatever you want to call her, to Jesus. She was his companion. She was his wife. She bore his child. She is royalty. She is the royal bloodline. She was the power in that dynamic. He was the figurehead. Sound familiar here, ladies? How many of you have spent your entire lives being the power behind your man and doing everything, while he goes out and extends that to his businesses, to his connections, to other women? I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but look at what I'm saying as a bigger picture, as a massive scale here. And then he dominates and controls everything outside of himself, not giving back to his own feminine, when she is actually the power behind everything. All of Mary Magdalene's teachings were oppressed, hidden, None of them were put into the Bible. The closest person to your Messiah was what, a slut, a whore, a nothing? Women have been oppressed, suppressed, burned, taken advantage of, lied to, pushed down, manipulated, so that you could have a society that was dominated by masculine for power because it wanted to be God. And that's the truth. It's exactly what happened to this society. But here's what's about to happen is the feminine is saying no more to that dynamic. I'm no more going to be an enabler to you, and I am no more going to give to you while you go out and give to everyone and everything else and not give back to me. I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet. I am going to be the power that I am, and I'm going to pull that energy down into me, into the material plane, because I am that power source. I'm the vessel. See, y'all go up, do the Kundalini, go out of your body, pray up there. Y'all been lied to on purpose because they can control you up there. The other thing is there is a device on every single human that plugs into the back of your third eye chakra and your root chakra. It's called a hell loop. Keeps you stuck in your body. If we keep you stuck in your human form, you don't get out, you don't expand, you don't grow with your energy, you don't think or know that you're bigger than this. That's a cool trick too. The truth is, you should be pulling your energy down. You should be lowering your vibration. It's not even lowering your vibration, it's bringing the truth of the energy of who you are here. We should be going into the planet, into the material plane, and feeling everything, connecting to everything, understanding everything, accepting everything. First doing that with ourselves. See, nobody teaches you to go down. They teach you meditation and stillness, but they don't understand that that's going this way. That's praying downwards. Here's the other interesting thing. Jesus's greater self, you call it a soul, but it's not a soul, was Namena, a feminine energy. That's why he was so healing. Ra's energy comes from a more masculine energy, which makes sense because he's very masculine. But the thing is that we've been conditioned and programmed to believe that everything is the masculine, everything is the father, everything is up, when that's just not true. Everything is here. That energy needs to be pulled down here. Mary Magdalene was correct. She knew the truth about the feminine. Feminines, you need to be very mindful of who you're giving your sexual energy to, and you need to heal and cut and pull out those masculines that you have had sex with that are not on the vibration that you are, because you are maintaining their vibration, their lower vibration. If they are not healed, you're the key, you're the vessel. Your energy needs to be in this vessel, in here. And understand that those abilities are yours. That third eye that you've not probably been able to see, you feel like there's some type of filter on there, you're right. It's because of that. It's because of other things. But you're the one that brings the energy in and pushes it out. That's the truth. And we are moving towards a feminine dominated society. Not saying that it's going to dominate everything. It's not going to be like that. Feminines are not like that. It's definitely not going to be like that. It's going to be more of a, this is who I am. This is the dynamic I choose to be in. And you'll either love me and accept me for who I am, and I will either allow you into my reality or I won't. We're no longer accepting that the male dominates over us, that the male controls everything over us, that we live in this male-dominated society and we have to live by their rules and their guidelines. No. Where I come from, I abide by God's law, universal law. I don't abide by human law. Especially this. Because this is purposely created to enslave all of you at every level. Bring it down. Bring that energy down. That's the key. That means sitting in meditation. That means you're going to have to go into the fear, the worry, the doubt, the anxiety. And it's going to get tough because these energies don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know the truth that you are God here, that you have the power. They don't want you to know that, because if you know that, then you will kick yourself out of their matrix. You will kick yourself out of the lies and the illusion. And you'll push back. And you'll start to expose them for what they are, the truth, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Anyway, I hope you have a great night. Let me know if you have any questions.